The first thing that all organizations need to realize is what the real problem is. What's the root problem? And the number one problem is lack of honest communication. You know, when people hear me speak about honest communication and they know about the books that I've written, they usually think I'm going to go down the path of truth or lies, that people are lying to us. But that is actually not the problem. The problem is not what people are saying to us. It's actually what they're not saying to us. It's when we think to ourselves, I wish I would have known. I wish they would have shared with me that piece of information. I would have made a lot better decision. I wish that customer had told me what they really wanted or what they were really upset about. Because we can handle so many things if we really hear the truth. So the first thing is to realize that most problems can be rooted back to lack of honest communication. Now, some people might kind of debate me on this and say, no, I don't agree. But I challenge you. Give me a problem. Give me a problem. And I will show you it usually is rooted where somewhere there was somebody who didn't say what they could have said. In other words, they had something to say and they chose not to say it. So, this deals with the first key of what we need to do to fix this. We need to be aware and to recognize that this is really the problem. If we don't recognize that this is really the problem, then we're not going to figure out the strategies to fix the problem. Kind of on a comical side, although not so comical, there was a study that was done years ago that reported that 93% of people lie regularly. 93%. I actually think the other 7% in the study lied. The truth is, we all lie. And you might say, that's not really the case. Oh, really? How about white lies and lies of withholding? Now, some people say lies of withholding. What's that? That's where somebody doesn't say something to us, or we don't say something, and we rationalize, well, I didn't say it, but I wasn't lying. Well, have you ever been on the receiving end of somebody who withheld some information, and it had you make an entirely different decision? How do you feel towards that person? If you're like most, you feel lied to. You feel like they were not being honest. Now, it may have not been malicious, and often it is not meant to be malicious. But the reality is, we feel lied to. So when it's all said and done, what we need to realize is that one of the first keys to getting those great relationships, opening up the channels of communication, fixing a lot of problems, is to first be aware of what the real problem is and to recognize that. A client of mine shared with me how a project that was supposed to take 4 months actually took a year and a half. The reason why she shared why that was the case was because people were not being upfront with each other, challenging each other, and sharing the key essential issues and ideas. If they had done that, they would have saved enormous amount of hours. What's the point we need to realize? Lack of honest communication is costly. Third, leaders need to demonstrate and model certain behaviors that show people that honest communication is what we really want. You know, we've all been part of organizations where they tout honesty, integrity, and commitment. Like we're going to be part of a team or an organization where there's lack of honesty, lack of integrity, lack of commitment. We all know that's the case. But how do we decide whether to be upfront? And a lot of it has to be whether the leaders are modeling specific strategies and techniques. And these happen to be ones that we've figured out to help leaders do. And when they do it, it makes all the difference in the world. And it shows employees we really mean what we say. We want that honest communication every day. Fourth, we need to arm employees throughout our organization with specific skills on how to have that honest conversation. You know, we've all been parts of organizations too, where they say, and maybe even leaders will model certain behaviors, but the real message is, oh yeah, when I speak up, it doesn't go so well. Why does that happen? Well, because employees sometimes live in fear, and sometimes it's not even warranted. It might have been from a previous job. But the reality is that people get afraid and they don't know how to speak the truth. But here's the good news. We figured out 9 specific steps that when people employ that, they can communicate honestly no matter how difficult, no matter how challenging the environment is, and no matter how well received or how well it might not be received. And that's how we help employees throughout the organization be able to communicate no matter how difficult the environment is, no matter how challenging, or no matter how well received or not received that communication is. And by arming them with those skill sets, then everybody can speak honestly and the organization benefits. Fifth, people need to be held accountable and rewarded for speaking honestly. What do I mean by rewarded? Again, we've all been in situations where the true message has been to punish the messenger. We need to reward the messenger for honest communication, and we need to hold people accountable. What do I mean by holding them accountable? We need to let people know that part of their job is to proactively speak the truth. So when an employee says to you, well, you didn't ask me, I didn't know I was supposed to say that, really? And what we need to do is let people know that we expect and we hold people accountable, and then again, reward people for speaking the truth.